The rain taps against the coffee shop window like fingers drumming impatiently on glass. Mia's breath catches as she sees him through the steam-fogged pane. Daniel, ordering at the counter with that same careful concentration she once found endearing, then suffocating, then heartbreaking in its absence. She should leave, walk away before he turns around, before those dark eyes find hers across the crowded cafe. But her feet remain rooted to the worn wooden floor, her hands wrapped round a ceramic mug that's grown cold while she's been lost in the ghost of what they used to be. Mia, his voice cuts through the ambient chatter, soft and uncertain. She lifts her gaze slowly, and there he is, still tall, still broad-shouldered, but different somehow, sharper round the edges, more sure of himself than she remembers. Daniel. His name feels foreign on her tongue after 8 months of silence. He approaches her table with measured steps, as if she might bolt at any sudden movement. Mind if I? He gestures to the empty chair across from her. She nods, not trusting her voice. The scent of his cologne cedar, and something indefinably warm floods her senses. As he settles into the seat, it's the same fragrance that used to linger on her pillows, her sweaters, her skin. You look. He pauses, studying her face with an intensity that makes her pulse quicken. Different, so do you? And he does. There's a confidence in the way he carries himself now, a self-possession that was always there but somehow muted when they were together, as if her leaving had freed something in him she'd never known was caged. The silence stretches between them, heavy with unspoken words and the weight of all the nights she's lain awake wondering if she made the right choice. Outside, the rain intensifies, trapping them in this bubble of warmth and memory. I heard about your promotion, she says finally, desperate to fill the quiet. Senior architect, that's what you always wanted. A ghost of a smile touches his lips. Some things work out better than expected. The words hang in the air like a challenge, and she wonders if he's talking about the job or something else entirely. Her friends' voices echo in her memory. You deserve better, Mia, don't settle. Know your worth. But sitting here, watching the way his fingers trace the rim of his coffee cup, the same unconscious gesture that used to drive her wild with wanting, she can't remember what better was supposed to look like. I should go, she whispers, but makes no move to leave. Should you? His eyes lock with hers, and for a moment, she sees a flicker of the man who used to know every secret curve of her heart. Or do you want to? The question lingers as they find themselves walking along the waterfront, the rain having softened to a gentle mist that clings to their skin like silk. Neither suggested this detour, yet here they are, moving in synchrony as if no time has passed at all. Remember our third date? Daniel's voice is barely audible over the sound of water lapping against the dock. You were terrified of that thunderstorm. Mia's breath hitches at the memory. How he'd held her on his couch while lightning split the sky, his hands stroking her hair until her trembling stopped. How safe she'd felt in the circle of his arms. How right it had seemed to let herself be vulnerable with him. You said storms were just the sky having feelings, she murmurs, and you laughed so hard you cried. He stops walking, turning to face her. They're standing beneath a street lamp that casts everything in golden relief, and she can see the exact moment his expression shifts from nostalgic to something more dangerous. What are you feeling right now, Mia? The question catches her off guard. Intimate in its directness, she takes a step back, but he follows, closing the distance between them until she can count the droplets of mist caught in his dark eyelashes. I don't know, she whispers, which is both a lie and the truest thing she's said in months. Yes, you do. His voice drops to that low register that used to undo her completely. You're scared. Of what? Of admitting that your friends were wrong. He reaches up, his fingertips barely grazing her cheek before she turns her head away, but not before she sees the flash of hurt in his eyes, of admitting that maybe what we had wasn't something to walk away from. Her pulse thunders in her ears. Daniel, I know what they told you. His words are soft but relentless, that you were settling, that you deserved someone who would chase you, worship you, make you feel like the center of the universe every single day. He pauses, his gaze searching her face. How did that work out? The truth sits heavy in her chest. The months of first dates that went nowhere. The gradual silence from friends who'd moved on to their next project. The crushing realization that being alone and being free were not the same thing at all. You don't understand, she starts. But he steps closer, and her words dissolve into nothing. Then help me understand. His hand finds hers in the darkness, fingers intertwining with devastating familiarity. Tell me why you're here, Mia. Tell me why you didn't leave when you saw me in that cafe. She looks up at him, at this man she loved and left and has thought about every day since, and feels something crack open inside her chest. The carefully constructed walls she's built around her heart, the justifications and rationalizations, all of it crumbling under the weight of his patient gaze. Because, she whispers, the admission torn from somewhere deep inside her, I've been lonely for so long I forgot what it felt like not to be. Thunder rumbles in the distance, and she wonders if the sky is having feelings again. Daniel's apartment looks exactly the same and completely different. The furniture is familiar, the charcoal sofa where they used to tangle together. On lazy Sunday mornings, the bookshelf lined with architectural journals and dog-eared novels. But there are new things too. A painting she doesn't recognize. Fresh flowers on the kitchen counter. Signs of a life lived without her. Coffee, he asks, though they both know caffeine is the last thing either of them needs at 11 p.m. Please. She settles onto the couch, hyper-aware of every sound, the whisper of rain against windows, the soft clink of mugs, the steady rhythm of her own heartbeat. When he returns, he doesn't sit beside her as he once would have. Instead, he chooses the armchair across from her, close enough to touch but maintaining that careful distance that makes her skin ache with wanting. You never answered my question, he says, handing her the steaming mug. Their fingers brush in. The transfer and the simple contact sends electricity racing up her arm. Which one? Why you're really here. She takes a sip of coffee to buy herself time, tasting the hazelnut creamer he remembers she likes. The small gesture undoes her more than grand romantic gestures ever could. I missed you. The words spill out before she can stop them, raw and honest in the lamplight. God, Daniel, I missed you so much it felt like dying. Something shifts in his expression, surprise, pain, hope. He sets down his mug and leans forward, elbows on his knees. Then why did you leave? Because they made. It sounds so easy, her voice cracks. They said I was young and beautiful and I could have anyone. That settling down at 26 was giving up on myself. That you were. She pauses, the cruel words sticking in her throat. What? That I was what? Safe, boring, the kind of guy who'd never make me feel alive. He's quiet for a long moment, and she watches emotions play across his features like shadows. When he speaks, his voice is dangerously soft. And how alive did you feel without me? The question hangs between them, like a blade. She sets down her mug with shaking hands and looks at him, really looks at him. At the man who used to wake up early to make her breakfast, who remembered her favorite passages from books she'd read aloud to him, who loved her with a steadiness that had felt suffocating, until it was gone. Dead, she whispers. I felt dead. He's off the chair and moving toward her before she can draw another breath. Dropping to his knees beside the couch, his hands frame her face with infinite gentleness, thumbs brushing away tears she didn't know were falling. Mia, her name on his lips, breaks something loose inside her. She turns into his touch, pressing her mouth to his palm, breathing him in like oxygen after drowning. I'm sorry, she whispers against his skin. I'm so sorry, don't. His voice is rough, strained. Don't apologize for listening to people who cared about you. But they were wrong. She pulls back to meet his eyes, seeing her own longing reflected there. They were so wrong. Daniel, you weren't safe, you were home, and I threw it away because I thought I deserved better, when what I deserved was you. The air between them crackles with tension, with want, with 8 months of separation dissolving like sugar in rain. He's so close she can feel the heat radiating from his body, can see the war being fought behind his eyes. Mia, he says again, and this time it sounds like a prayer. She doesn't know who moves first. One moment they're separated by inches and impossibility. The next his mouth is on hers and she's remembering what it means to feel alive. The kiss tastes like coming home and falling apart all at once. Daniel's hands tangle in her hair as she melts against him. 8 months of longing compressed into this single point of contact. He kisses her like he's drowning and she's air, like he's been holding his breath since the night she walked away. When they break apart, both breathing hard. He rests his forehead against hers. "We shouldn't," he whispers, but his hands haven't left her face, his thumbs still tracing the arch of her cheekbones like he's memorizing her all over again. "I know," her voice is barely audible, "but I can't stop wanting you, Mia." Her name is a warning, a plea, a surrender all at once. She shifts on the couch, and suddenly she's closer, her knees bracketing his hips as he kneels before her. The position is intimate, loaded with possibility, and she watches his pupils dilate in the soft light. "Tell me you haven't thought about this." She breathes, her hands finding the solid warmth of his chest through his shirt. "Tell me you haven't wondered what it would be like to have me back in your arms." His jaw clenches. "That's not fair." Nothing about this is fair. Her fingers trace the line of his collarbone, and she feels him shudder beneath her touch. "But I'm tired of pretending I don't need you. Tired of acting like what we had was ordinary when it was everything. You left me." The words are quiet, devastated. "You chose them over me. I chose fear over love." She cups his face in her hands, forcing him to meet her gaze. "I chose other people's dreams over my own heart, and I've regretted it every single day since." Something breaks in his expression, the careful control he's been maintaining since they sat down. His hands slide to her waist, fingers splaying across her ribs like he wants to hold every piece of her. "Do you have any idea what you did to me?" His voice is raw, stripped of pretense. "How many nights I lay awake wondering what was wrong with me that you'd rather be alone than be with me." The pain in his words cuts deeper than any accusation could. She sees it now, not just her own loneliness these past months, but his. The way her leaving must have felt like a judgment, a rejection of everything he had to offer. "There's nothing wrong with you," she whispers fiercely. "You're perfect. You were always perfect, and I was too stupid and scared to see it." He pulls her closer until there's no space between them, until she can feel the rapid beating of his heart against her chest. "I tried to move on," he confesses, his mouth brushing her temple. "Dated other people, threw myself into work, but every time I kissed someone else, all I could think about was you." The admission sends heat spiraling through her. Jealousy and relief and desperate want all tangled together. "Show me," she breathes against his ear, and feels him go absolutely still. "Show me I'm the only one you think about when you kiss someone." For a heartbeat, the world holds its breath. Then his mouth is on hers again, hungrier this time, more demanding. He kisses her like he's trying to erase every moment they've been apart, every touch that wasn't hers, every night he spent wanting what he couldn't have. She responds with equal fervor, months of suppressed longing pouring out of her in waves, her hands fist in his shirt, pulling him impossibly closer as thunder crashes overhead and lightning illuminates the room. In stark relief. When they break apart this time, his eyes are dark with want and something more dangerous, hope. "Stay," he whispers against her lips, and for the first time in 8 months, she knows exactly what she wants to say. "Yes." The word falls from her lips like absolution, like a promise she should have made months ago. Daniel's eyes search hers in the flickering candlelight. When did he light candles? As if he can't quite believe what he's heard. His hands frame her face with reverent care, thumbs tracing the curve of her jaw. "Are you sure?" His voice is barely a whisper, rough with hope and fear in equal measure. "Because I can't do this again, Mia. I can't watch you walk away twice." She turns, her head to press a kiss to his palm, tasting salt and certainty on her tongue. "I'm not going anywhere, not this time. Your friends were wrong." She silences his doubt with her mouth, pouring 8 months of regret and longing into the kiss. "They don't know what we have, what we've always had." He lifts her effortlessly, carrying her to the bedroom she once shared with him, setting her down beside the bed with infinite gentleness. The room is exactly as she remembers. Navy sheets she helped him choose, the reading chair where she used to curl up while he sketched. But there are changes here too. Her favorite candle on the nightstand, the throw pillow she'd bought and left behind, washed and carefully placed. "You kept it," she whispers, touching the soft fabric. "I kept everything." His admission is vulnerable. "Raw, your coffee mug in the kitchen, the book you were reading, that sweater you always stole from my closet." He pauses, his gaze intense. "I kept hoping you'd come back for them, for me." Tears blur her vision as the full weight of her mistake crashes over her. This man, this beautiful, patient, steadfast man loved her enough to keep her memory alive in every corner of his space. And she'd walked away from it all because her friends convinced her she could do better. "I love you," she breathes, the words she should have said the night she left. "I never stopped loving you, Daniel. Not for a single second." His response is wordless, expressed in the way he draws her close, in the reverent touch of his hands, as he maps every familiar curve and hollow. They move together with the desperate tenderness of lovers reuniting after war, each caress both greeting and promise. Outside, the storm reaches its crescendo, rain lashing against the windows in sheets, but inside their cocoon of candlelight and whispered endearments, they create their own weather, one of heat and breath, and the electric slide of skin against skin. "I dreamed about this," he confesses against her throat, his words vibrating through her like music. "Every night, I dreamed about having you back in my arms." She arches beneath him, overwhelmed by sensation and emotion and the rightness of being here, being his again. "I'm here now," she gasps. "I'm here, and I'm yours, and I'm never leaving again." Later, as they lie tangled in navy sheets that smell like home, she traces lazy patterns on his chest while he plays with her hair. The storm has passed, leaving only the gentle patter of rain and the steady rhythm of his heartbeat beneath her cheek. "What about your friends?" he asks quietly. She considers this, thinking of the women who'd pushed her toward a freedom she'd never wanted, who'd made her doubt the best thing in her life. "I'll have to learn to trust myself instead of other people's opinions," she says. "Finally, learn the difference between settling and choosing, between compromise and sacrifice." He presses a kiss to the crown of her head. "And what did you choose?" She lifts her face to meet his gaze, seeing her entire future reflected in those dark eyes. "Love," she whispers. "I chose love. I chose you. I chose us." "Good," he murmurs, pulling her up for a kiss that tastes like promises and new beginnings. "Because I choose you too. Always have. Always will." As dawn breaks over the city, painting their entwined bodies in gold, Mia finally understands what her friends never could, that sometimes the greatest adventure isn't in seeking something new, but in recognizing the extraordinary in what you already have. And sometimes coming home means never leaving again.